week 17 of the fantasy baseball season. And here's a few pitchers I would look to pick up and add on waivers this week. The first guy's Kyle Muler of the Atlanta Braves. So last week he was on the added list, and he didn't get added really in many leagues, was Muller. So on the season here, we haven't seen much of him. 29 and 2/3, 2-3 record, 19 hits, 8 earned runs, a homer, 15 walks, 33 strikeouts, a 2.43 ERA, and a 1.15 whip. So right now, Muller, he's going out there, and he's pitched pretty well so far in the first few outings here with the Braves this season. And the last couple weeks for Muller, 14 innings, 1-1 record, 10 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 1.29 ERA, and a 1.21 whip. So right now the Braves here, obviously they're trying to get back into the hunt in the NL East. They're only 4 games out behind the New York Mets. And Kyle Muller, he's only been a 4 or 5 inning pitcher right now, but like I mentioned, the ERA is low. He's going to have a rotational spot here now for the Braves, definitely the rest of the season. And the Braves are in win-now mode with some of the moves we saw him make at the trade deadline, getting Richard Rodriguez, getting Jorge Soler, and Eduardo Escobar. And right here, Kyle Muller's a player that definitely can help your fantasy team. And right now, he's available in 73% of leagues. The last few outings for him, July 21st versus San Diego, 4 innings, got the loss, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 3 Ks, a 2.25 ERA, and a 1.25 whip. July 26th at the Mets, 5 innings, got the win, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks, and 1.20 whip. And July 31st versus the Milwaukee Brewers, 5 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, 7 Ks, 1.80 ERA, and a 1.20 whip. So right now he's going out there, he's getting the job done for the Braves. I know he's not going deep into games or really getting quality starts, but everything else here for him is panning out to be good, and he should be a guy added and being on more fantasy rosters this week. The second pitch is Jordan Montgomery of the New York Yankees. So the Yankees, they didn't really go out there on the trade deadline and upgrade their roster in the starting rotation. Instead, Anthony Rizzo so far, he's been a big addition, and Joey Gallo. And the only pitching side of things, guys, they got was Andrew Heaney. But Jordan Montgomery this season, 114 and 2/3, 4-5 record, 100 hits, 47 earned runs, 12 homers, 35 walks, 115 strikeouts, a 3.69 ERA, and a 1.18 whip with 8 quality starts in the last couple weeks here for Montgomery. 15 and 2/3, 1-0 record, 11 hits, 1 earned run, 5 walks, 16 Ks, and 0.57 ERA, 1.02 whip. So right now, recently, this New York Yankee pitching staff, they're starting to get things going and pitch much better. And now they're making a push, obviously, with this few trades I mentioned they made at the deadline to win this division or get a wild card spot here. And Jordan Montgomery, he's been a pretty decent and big part of the late push over the last few weeks. July 22nd at Boston, 5 and 2/3, no decision, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 6 Ks, 0.71 whip. July 27th at Tampa, 5 innings, got the win, 5 hits, no runs again, 3 walks, 5 Ks, a 1.60 whip. And August 1st at Miami, 5 innings, no decision, 3 hits, 1 earned run, a walk, 5 Ks, a 1.80 ERA, 0.80 whip. So right now he's available still in 44% of leagues. I know he plays in a tough division like the AL East, but right now it's a quality pitcher out there on waivers, and a guy should be owned in more fantasy leagues than 56%. And like I said, this Yankee team, I definitely could see them making a run and sneaking into the playoffs here. Montgomery definitely could be a big part of it. The next pitcher I looked at on waivers this week's Matt Harvey of the Baltimore Orioles. So Matt Harvey, I thought his career was over a few weeks ago and even a few seasons ago, but right now he's wrote the ship here and he's pitched well on the season. 94 1/3, 6 and 10 record, 118 hits, 65 runs, 12 homers, 27 walks, 72 strikeouts, a 6.20 ERA, and a 1.54 whip with 4 quality starts, which obviously are awful numbers on his season totals. But the last couple weeks here for Harvey, 12 1/3, 2-0 record, 7 hits, no runs given up, 9 strikeouts, no walks either, 0.57 whip, and 2 quality starts. And in the last month here, his ERA is at 2.45. So Matt Harvey, he's turning things around. Maybe he found something finally after he's been struggling the last 4 or 5 seasons since he was the Dark Knight for the New York Mets. And Harvey, he's gone out there, and he's in a tough division as well, and he's not on the greatest of teams here with Baltimore. But right now, he's finding his niche. Test will be for him, though, Wednesday at the New York Yankees. That's going to be a tough one. But the last 3 outings for Harvey: July 18th at the Royals, 6 innings, got the win, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 2 Ks, and 0.67 whip in a quality start. July 24th versus the Nats, 6 innings, got the win, 1 hit, no runs again, 4 Ks, 0.17 whip in a quality start. And July 30th at Detroit, 6 1/3, got the win, 6 hits, no runs, 5 Ks, 0.95 whip in a quality start. So he hasn't given up a run now in his last 3 outings as Harvey. And maybe, like I said, he found something in his delivery. Maybe he's changing it up the way he's pitching and stuff. But this is a guy you can't ignore in fantasy leagues right now, even though he does have the tough matchup, like I mentioned, August 4th at the Yankees. But he's going out there, he's getting the job done, and he's a pitcher that's available in 92% of fantasy leagues. So I would take a shot on him this week because he's obviously putting up some big numbers of late here. And it can't be ignored. And if he gets bombed the next start or two, then you just drop him again. But right now, I would take the risk and pick up Harvey this week. The next pitcher is Johnny Cueto of the San Francisco Giants. So the Giants here, we know they're the best team in the NL West this season. But with the moves the Dodgers made, they're going to move right in and right there in the standings here with the Giants. But on the season for Cueto, 93 2/3, 7-5 record, 98 hits, 40 earned runs, 13 homers given up, 19 walks, 82 strikeouts, a respectable 3.84 ERA, and a 1.25 whip with 4 quality starts on the season. And the last couple weeks here for Cueto, 10 2/3, 1-0 record, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, a homer, 3 walks, 12 Ks, a 2.53 ERA, and an 0.94 whip. So right here, Johnny Cueto, you're going to get great outings from him, and you're going to get bad outings from him. But right now, he's on a little bit of a hot streak, even though he hasn't really gone deep into ball games the last month of the season now. July 18th at the Cardinals, 5 innings, no decision, 2 hits, an earned run, a homer, a walk, 5 Ks, a 1.80 ERA, 0.60 whip. July 23rd versus the Pirates, 5 innings, 3 hits, no decision, 3 earned runs, a homer, a walk, 7 Ks, a 5.40 ERA, and an 0.80 whip. And then July 29th versus the Dodgers, 5 2/3, got the win, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 1.06 whip. So right here, he's been pretty solid the last 3 outings, even though he's failed to reach 6 innings in that time. But he's on a great team in San Francisco, and I know it's a tough division with San Diego and the Dodgers, but right now Cueto should get more respect, and he's available still here in 69% of fantasy leagues. And his next outing's tomorrow, August 3rd, at the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that's another game where Cueto should go out there and pitch another gem, in my opinion. So if he's out there in your fantasy leagues, you should go out there right now, and especially 12-team leagues or deeper, and go get him. The next pitcher is Bryce Wilson of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Wilson, he got traded in that Atlanta Brave deal for Richard Rodriguez from the Pirates. And Wilson, this is his time now to have an opportunity. And he hasn't pitched much this season at all. Only 33 2/3, 2-3 record, 45 hits, 22 earned runs, 7 homers, 12 walks, 23 strikeouts, a 5.88 ERA, and a 1.69 whip with 2 quality starts. But now he's going to a rebuilding situation, obviously, in Pittsburgh, where they've gutted their team over the last 3 or 4 seasons here. So Wilson's going to have every opportunity to go out there and start every 5th day for this Pirate team. And I think he could be a decent pickup. And right now, he's available in 99% of fantasy leagues. And today, we'll see what he's got at the Milwaukee Brewers. Obviously, the first-place team in the NL Central. But right here, he's going to get an opportunity. He definitely has upside, and he was one of the better prospects in the Brave system at the pitching position over the last few years, but the opportunity wasn't there. And the Braves here, they're in win-now mode with the trades, like I mentioned early in the video, that they made at the trade deadline here. But Bryce Wilson, he's on a team rebuilding, and I think this kid has some good stuff. So right now, obviously, he's available all over the place in fantasy leagues. I would give him a shot, but today will be a test and we'll see what he does there. The next pitcher I look to add on waivers this week is Vladimir Guerrero of the Cincinnati Reds. So he was on my drop list a few weeks ago, where he got called down for a brief stint of time after the New York Mets hit him hard, but he came back yesterday with a vengeance versus the New York Mets, and he pitched really well. Was Gutierrez in that ball game. On the season for him, 67 and 2/3, 6-3 record, 62 hits given up, 33 earned runs, 13 homers, 30 walks, 46 strikeouts, a 4.39 ERA, and a 1.36 WHIP with 7 quality starts. So the Achilles heel here for Gutierrez is 30 walks given up this season to the only 46 strikeouts in the last couple weeks for him. 17 1/3, 2-0 record, 17 hits, 9 earned runs, 5 homers, 7 walks, 10 Ks, a 4.67 ERA, and a 1.38 WHIP with 2 quality starts in the time for Gutierrez. So right now he's going out there, and he's pitched really well since that game where he got bombed by the Mets on July 19th. And like I said, he's hitting the strike zone. He's getting batters out earlier in the count, especially he's got a good fly ball rate where a lot of guys he's jamming and then just popping out to left and center field. So the last 3 outings for Gutierrez, July 19th versus the Mets, he got bombed like I mentioned, 4 innings, no decision, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 homers, 2 walks, a K, 13.5 ERA, and a 2.75 WHIP. July 27th at the Cubs, 6 1/3, got the win, 5 hits, 2 runs, a homer, 3 walks, 5 Ks, a 2.84 ERA, and a 1.26 WHIP with a quality start. And then yesterday, August 1st at the Mets, 7 innings, got the win, 3 hits, 1 earned run, a homer, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a 1.29 ERA, and an 0.71 WHIP with a quality start. So Gutierrez, he's calmed things down over the last few games, and like I mentioned, he's hitting the strike zone. He's not really walking batters, and he's getting easier outs with his fly ball rate. So right here, Gutierrez, he's available in 92% of fantasy leagues, and he's definitely worth an ad this week, in my opinion. The next pitcher is Logan Webb of the San Francisco Giants. So Logan Webb, he's been pitching well over the last few weeks. On the season for Webb, 73 innings, 5-3 record, 65 hits, 27 earned runs, 6 homers, 23 walks, 73 strikeouts, a nice 3.33 ERA, and a 1.21 WHIP with 6 quality starts in the last couple weeks for Webb. 17 innings, 1-0 record, 13 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 5 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 2.65 ERA, 1.06 WHIP, and 2 quality starts. So this San Francisco Giant team, their pitching staff's legit, no doubt about it. And people have been saying they're going to fall off, they're not legit, they got nobody. But that's obviously not the case here with the guys they're putting out there, reaching every day in their starting rotation. We've seen Kevin Gausman have a great year. Alex Wood, he's been pretty consistent. Logan Webb, he's been pitching well over the last month or two here of the season as well. You also had Sammy Long, he came up for a cup of coffee, he was pretty good. So this Giant team here, the pitchers are hitting on all cylinders. And Logan Webb, he's also available in a wide amount of fantasy leagues at 65%. The last few outings for him, July 21st at the Dodgers, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, a homer, 3 walks, 5 Ks, a 3.60 ERA, 1.20 WHIP. July 27th versus the Dodgers, 6 innings, 3 hits, no decision, a run, a walk, 5 Ks, a 1.50 ERA, 0.67 WHIP, and a quality start. And August 1st versus Houston yesterday, 6 innings, got the win, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, a homer, a walk, 3 Ks, a 3 ERA, 1.33 WHIP, and a quality start. So Webb, he's gone out there and he's pitched real well this season for the most part and the last couple weeks. So he's a guy that should be added in more leagues as well, because this Giant team's legit. They're going nowhere, and their pitching staff's been amazing this season. The next pitcher I'd look to hit on waivers this week's Karlfinnegan of the Washington Nationals. So it looks like Finnegan's the new closer over there in Washington, since Brad Hand got traded right before the deadline to the Toronto Blue Jays. And on the season for Finnegan, 43 innings, 4-2 record, 2 saves under his belt, 40 hits, 15 runs, 4 homers, 21 walks, 46 strikeouts, a 3.14 ERA, and a 1.42 WHIP. In the last couple weeks here for Finnegan, 8 2/3, 1-0 record, 2 saves, 2 hits given up, 4 walks, 6 Ks, no runs, and 0.69 WHIP. So Finnegan, he's gone out there and pitched well over the last few weeks. But let's be honest here, this Washington national team, they're not going to win many games anymore. They traded their whole roster pretty much, except Juan Soto. They traded Kyle Schwarber. They obviously traded Scherzer and Trey Turner to the Dodgers. They traded Yan Gomes and Josh Harrison to the A's. John Lester they traded as well. So right here to the Cardinals as well. So right here, there's no one left on this team. And the Nationals, they're not going to win many more ball games this season. They gutted the roster like I mentioned. Next year, they're going to hit the reset button and see what they can do in free agency and with trade. So right now, there's not going to be many opportunities, in my opinion, that for Finnegan to close games out. Even though he's got good numbers this season, it's a closer on the waiver wire. Most closers should be owned in fantasy leagues. And right now, Finnegan's available in 61% of leagues. But don't go out there and think you're picking up a top-flight closer unless the Nationals shock everyone and they start winning a lot of ball games with a lot of young guys and a lot of veterans who've traveled and journeymen throughout their career. But Finnegan, he's definitely worth an ad this week. He's a closer, and if you need saves, it's an easy option to go out there and get. The next pitcher to go out and get this week on waivers is Reed Detmers of the Los Angeles Angels. So Detmers made his debut last night versus the Oakland A's, and it wasn't a good one for him, but he's one of the better prospects in the Angels system. So in that outing, 4 1/3, got the loss, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 homers, given up 2 walks, 2 Ks, a 12.46 ERA, and a 1.85 WHIP. So Detmers, he was first start of his career, and he definitely was nervous, and he versed a good Oakland A team that obviously solidified their offense in the trade deadline, getting Starlin Marte, getting Harrison and Yan Gomes, and all those guys, ironically, had a big game yesterday versus Detmers. But Detmers, like I mentioned, he's one of the better prospects in the Angels system. He's a guy who has a high strikeout rate as well. And right now, it's only one outing, and the Angels, obviously, they're going nowhere. And once again, a lost season for them, so they're going to pitch the young guys and see what they got. And he's available in 72% of fantasy leagues. So right now, if you're looking for some starting pitching, this is a guy to go out there and get, in my opinion. It's only one outing. He's got too much good of upside, and you give him 2 or 3 outings, and if he's not doing well, then you drop him off your roster. But right now, I think he's worth a shot to pick up this week on your roster. And the final pitcher I looked at on waivers this week is Brett Anderson of the Milwaukee Brewers. So Brett Anderson, we know he's had a long series of injuries throughout his career, but when he has pitched, he's been pretty solid, in my opinion, is Brett Anderson. So on the season here for Anderson, 68 2/3, 4-5 record, 67 hits, 28 earned runs, 8 homers, 19 walks, 41 Ks, 3.67 ERA, and a 1.25 WHIP with 3 quality starts. In the last couple weeks for Anderson, 16 2/3, 2-0 record, 9 hits, 3 runs, a homer, 4 walks, 9 Ks, a 1.62 ERA, and an 0.78 WHIP with a quality start. So Anderson, he's gone out there, and he's pitched well for this Brewer team. And obviously, this Brewer team, they're in first place in the Central. And the only thing with Anderson, he could get hurt at any time. He's a fragile left-handed pitcher. And he's a guy, at most you're going to get out of him is probably 6 innings on a good outing. So on the last couple outings here for Anderson, July 20th versus the Royals, 5 innings, 3 hits, no decision, 2 runs, a homer, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a 3.60 ERA, a 1 WHIP. July 27th at the Pirates, 6 innings, got the win, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 3 Ks, 0.67 WHIP and a quality start. And then yesterday at the Braves, another great outing, 5 2/3, got the win, 3 hits, a run, a walk, 3 Ks, a 1.59 ERA, and an 0.71 WHIP. So right now, Anderson, he's gone out there and he's pitched quality games here for this Brewer team. And then they were in a division that doesn't really have scary teams here. Pittsburgh, they rebuild and they have no one. The Cubs, they traded their whole team away. The Cardinals, they're hanging on to a thread a little here, but they're not doing much. And the Cincinnati Reds, they're actually a threat, but they're gettable to getting them out as well here. So right here, I think Brett Anderson's a decent guy to pick up. And I know he's injury prone, but there's worse options on rosters I've seen than Brett Anderson. So that's a few pitches I've looked ahead here on waivers in Week 17 of the fantasy baseball season.